Whoa, it's the CU Podcast.
Happy New Year, everyone. Welcome to the CU Podcast. The first of the year.
Happy New Year.
The last year of the teens, 2019, January 1st. I think it's the first time we're doing a New Year's podcast. I believe so. That's Ian Ferguson.
We're ready for the roaring 20s.
I'm Pat Concha. We are getting ready for the roaring 20s.
Yeah.
Something tells me they won't be as festive as they were 100 years ago.
We can only hope.
We're rocking in the new year with you all here. We'll be talking about, Ian, what are we talking about? Why don't you run down some of the topics?
Oh, we're talking about the SimCity NES ROM being released. We're talking about Soulja Boy having those consoles taken away. We're talking about the Dreamcade replay being a horrible hunk of shit. And
Bandersnatch.
A little bit more. Yeah, Bandersnatch.
Bandersnatch. Yeah, so my New Year's Eve last year wasn't the best. I never got into it. I won't get into that. This is a better New Year's because I didn't feel some crushing sort of depression. Some really weird personal thing happened last year right before New Year's. It didn't happen this year, so that's good.
That's good.
So positive all around. Ian, how did you spend New Year's?
Yeah, Vonnie and I hung out and I made chicken wings.
Chicken? Oh, okay. Now I'm hungry. Intermittent
that.
fasting. Damn it. So I did have a horrible experience though with the post office. So if you listen to the NASACON podcast, you're an avid listener, Ian.
Yes.
You have a T-shirt. and
Every
everything.
single one. Do you have a T-shirt for that?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I should. I should just have the list of all the YouTubers that backstab me that appeared on the podcast.
Oh yeah, that'd be
list.
fun.
So I fucked up my phone. First curse of the new year. Sorry, I messed up my phone. That should be a New Year's resolution. I screwed up my phone. Water damage. I didn't back up anything, so I gotta get a forensics guy to look into it. So I ordered. It's the iPhone 6s, which is a fine phone. It's still fine. They sell them new still for like $450 for 128 gigs. I upgraded from the 64. I could have stick with the 64, but there was one on eBay for like $240, like used. But they're fine if they're used. You can even swap out the battery yourself if the battery drains after a while. It doesn't hold the charge as much. So I ordered it literally on Christmas Day, and so I wanted to get it by Saturday so I went online and I saw that it was delivered to a post office, but it was too late. So then Monday comes around, and like my phone is my life, business, personal contacts, business, and everyone was texting me wondering what the hell happened to Pat. I'm usually pretty quick at responding to texts. So I get the message that via the tracking that it was at one of the local post offices, the Midway post office. It was at in the morning. I wanted to catch it before it went out for delivery because the mail doesn't get delivered here till late afternoon. So I figured,
okay,
I'm going to the gym in the morning at like 9 a.m. I can pick it up. I got the tracking number with me. Let's do this. Let's set out to the good old Midway post office. And boy, if that wasn't the most miserable experience I had to end a shitty 2018. I walk in, I stand in line with my tracking number. I walk to there's two desks set up. Everyone at the post office, this is an Asian thing. The youngest person in the post office is like 55 years old when you walk in. Most of them, usually they're older people. So I walk into this woman who looks like she wants to murder me before I say anything to begin with. She's just like, she has a thick Eastern European accent. I say, hey, I know the package at the post office. Here's the tracking number. I'd like to be able to see if it's here. I can pick it up, And she said, oh, I can't do that here. You got to, if your pickup is at the door next to me. I'm like, okay. Customer service wasn't the best, but she wasn't overtly rude. I slide 10 feet to the side where a guy just does pickup of items. Mm-hmm. It's a gentleman in his 50s. And I say, hey, here's my tracking number. I'd like to see if it's here. If I can pick it up early. And he goes, oh, I don't have a computer here. I can't do that. And I'm like, okay. All right. So
which post office is this?
Midway.
Okay.
Midway Point Loma.
The Ocean Beach one never even gives me that much trouble.
Oh, I've had trouble there too. I won't get into it. So I'm like, okay. All right. I don't know what you have here, sir. I go back into line again. Thankfully, it's only 2 people deep at this point. The woman we'll just call her Olga at this point. You know, about 60, bleach blonde hair, miserable woman. She sees me in line again. She gives me this eye. Like, oh, you fucker, you son of a bitch. And I'm like, oh my God. And there's two people. So I have the choice. So I'm like, oh my God, please let me get the hopefully nicer woman. She can't be meaner.
Right.
But no, I don't. So I walk over and she's like giving me the stink eye the whole time. And I'm like, okay, the gentleman said I should come back here in order to get the tracking number. She says, I told you I can't do it. This is a cash, like this is cash only. I'm like processing in my head. First of all, who does cash only in 2018 still, but 2019. But in my head, I'm like, they don't have a computer to ring things up and to calculate out costs and to track things. Like, you have a computer. They're not weighing stuff on a gram scale like you're weighing out drugs in the 70s. So she gets testy with me like it's my fault for not knowing this with her after the guy sent me back over. So she says, well, you got to go over there to that. I'm like, where am I going? It's like, you got to go over there to the cash register, but she's not there yet. So then she gets annoyed that she has to go get a third employee. She has to get a third employee to come help out this sorry sack of shit who just wants to see if his package is there at the post office. So I'm still staying calm at this point. I'm like, okay, I've had the best experiences. So I go walk to the end, and so she walks away. We'll just call her Olga, and she approaches this Asian woman, probably in like her mid 50s again. The average age of us here like 58. And she goes, how about this person over here? She's like, well, I got things to do. And this third person, I'm like, oh my God. I don't need this, by the way, Ian. It's 9:30 in the morning. She walks over, and before I say a word, and I swear to God, before I say the word, sir, you're going to have to wait. And I'm like, I'm looking at myself like, I've already been waiting like almost 10 minutes here, getting bounced around. So finally she says, she says to me, what set me off finally? She said something to the fact that oh, I have to turn on the system here, and I'm just like, finally this is where like Pat's civility went away. I said, I don't know why you're yelling at me. I haven't done anything. And I just said, you know what? I don't need this. I'm leaving. She said, well, bye, sir, like that. And I'm just like, and then I finally stopped and made a slight scene. I figured this was my moment to do this. Like my father used to, like 30 years ago. I looked around and I said, I didn't do anything. I feel like a crazy person. I said, I'm getting yelled at. I did nothing. I did absolutely nothing at the post office. I made sure, and then everyone else behind me looks at me. There's like 8 people. But they're like thinking, okay, it's like the soup Nazi thing. So you know the guy's an asshole, but you want your soup still. So they don't want to agree with you. Oh, that's terrible, because they got to deal with these asshole government employees after me. So it was like the perfect way to end to me, not a shitty in its entirety, but overall bad 2018 in terms of experiences.
All right.
So to all the miserable people at the Midway Point Loma post office, Happy New Year to you. Because all I wanted to see was check to see if my fucking package was at the post office. And I had 3 employees be rude to me in the span of about 3 minutes. 3 different employees. The 4th person, I wanted to see if I could get all 4 of them. I should have talked to the 4th one to see if she was going to be rude as well. So that was just, I just like shook my head like, I can't believe this. So
that's some stuff, man.
That's some stuff.
That is some stuff.
That's some stuff. So any New Year's resolutions, Ian?
No, I don't believe in New Year's resolutions.
Have you ever had one before?
I don't know. Maybe.
So here's what we've been banding about with the podcast. We've considered that we're making this public discourse. You guys are all in auditorium chairs watching this. Mm-hmm. That's what's happening right now. We're considering going weekly with the podcast. It'd be a shorter podcast of like maybe 6 to 8 topics, like an hour 15 podcast. We've thought about before. The reason we couldn't do it before because there was a lot of editing work on my part. But now that we have Kieran, who's an awesome editor, Harry Atomic, it's a possibility of us to do that. Some weeks would be lighter. Some weeks probably Ian wouldn't be available. I do it myself, or we skip a week here and there potentially if neither of us can do it. Or hey, maybe Ian can do one without me or with a guest. That'd be fun. We can try it. I'm just saying how it would turn out. We could try it. But that's what we thought. And then when I also had a thought with Ian that maybe we could, like, after we record, go live on Twitch for like 15-20 minutes and like just shoot the shit with people, just to, you know, say hi or whatever else.
It would be nice to get the topics out quicker.
That too. So that, because that's always been the strike against it. It's like, oh, your topics are a week late or 2 weeks late. And when it comes to the YouTube atmosphere, if you're listening to the podcast, you don't care for the most part. But even with that, podcast comes out every 2 weeks. So we're gonna try to do it. We'll get more clickbaity with our subject matter too in the titles. We'll do that as well. So so that's what's happening there. I got a present from Thomas, right? Mm-hmm. What's his Twitter handle? It's a weird one.
I think it's just his name.
Thomas Thomas.
Yes.
Oh wow! Oh,
I knew it.
it's a Funko home. I didn't know Funko did this. It's a Bloodsport shirt, and it's limited edition. Wow! Thank you so much. And it's in a VHS package. So the picture is Van Damme doing his iconic jump kick that you saw in the poster when he kicks Chong-Li in his face, his cheating face. But Ian, you're not off the hook yet. But thank you, Thomas. You're not off the hook on that other shirt.
Tom suggested I try stealing it.
He tried stealing it. Did you get one as well?
I got a RoboCop shirt. Same sort of deal.
Okay, well, this is great. I didn't know Funko did this. This is a great idea. We should do this CU podcast in a VHS, double VHS here. I will wear this, Thomas. Thank you so much for that. Other than that, other than my awful post office experience, I did see Aquaman.
Nice.
It was a thing. It wasn't bad.
Sure.
It was just overstuffed, and I fell asleep almost. I nodded off about 3/4 through it. I did. When the Julie Andrews fish monster was talking to Aquaman before he tried it.
Is it like 2.5 hours?
It's like 2:20.
Okay.
Something like that without looking. They could have trimmed like 10 minutes easily. There's a lot of like political intrigue, and Dolph Lundgren is great, and things like that. It's just there's a lot of fat there. The fight scenes go on for too long. Where it's like, okay, enough.
Gotcha.
Like the one-on-one Trident fights, enough spinning. Like we get it. Like shorter brevity sometimes is better when it comes to this. But it's not bad. I think it's like 64% on Rotten Tomatoes. So it's still fresh. Average rating's like 6. I give it like a 6 out of 10.
Right.
Jason Momoa. Well, it's funny when Jason Momoa first shows up. He takes off his shirt. You can hear the woman like down there. She's like, oh. I was just like, yes, we get it. This is superhero porn for some people. We get that. Yeah, I gotta see Bumblebee. I just gotta see Bumblebee. But anyway, we're gonna get started with the CU podcast. Thanks to everyone for supporting us in 2018. It was rough going there for a bit. But things will be dealt with eventually, and we'll get back on track, and we'll see. So, Ian,
yes,
you like Black Mirror?
I've never really watched it.
Oh, this is gonna be a great topic then.
Yeah,
because Black Mirror is.
I mean, I know what it is.
It's like a modern Twilight Zone. It deals with how technology is fucking us up in terms of like social status and things of that nature. I've seen only 2 or 3 full episodes, but it's good. So they came out out of nowhere with this. Bandersnatch standalone episodes. A season 5 was pushed back to make this episode, and that's because Bandersnatch is an interactive movie.
It's a choose your own adventure.
It's a choose your own adventure. So Bandersnatch takes place in 1984, July 1984, and Bandersnatch was a old, I believe, old novel. At least the name of it was right. It was Lewis Carroll's 1872 novel Through the Looking Glass. Okay, I didn't even know that. So in this universe, Bandersnatch is a choose your own adventure book that came out. So the main character in Bandersnatch goes about writing a ZX Spectrum or ZX Spectrum across the pond, ZX Spectrum program based on the choose your own adventure book, and creates this like dungeon crawler looking choose your own adventure computer game.
Gotcha.
And then he wants to sell it to Tucker. Is it Tucker Software? Was that it? God, I just watched it a couple of days ago. The software company that's put out a bunch of titles, and there's actually a website that.
Yeah, I've heard there was like a fake website and I believe a game as well.
Yes, Nosedive, which was with a cool spelling. Nosedive, which was developed by another character in the game named character in the movie named Colin. You see him playing it. It's a guy diving down a building in those gaudy ZX Spectrum graphics. I don't know how you guys in Great Britain got through those games, singular colors on characters. But anyway, so they actually made the game.
Oh, okay.
For that, you can download it and play it on an emulator.
Gotcha.
So this is an interesting movie just because first of all, it's great to see like computer gaming in the 80s. It's like a somewhat small studio. That's probably how it went down. It's like there's like kids at cubicles programming games, and you have one guy funding it. The box art looks like something of the period. It has like a little rainbow in the corner with a black box, and I have a couple of games that look like that.
Sure.
I can't remember the company. I think the online systems before it was Sierra had a box that looked like that. We're talking like 81, 82, like that early. They looked like that with these adventure games. And it's very dark, and it conveys sort of the subject matter of controlling your own destiny while also doing that, watching the movie and controlling it. It plays upon that. Like, are you really in control? Is the viewer really in control of what's going on? And then the main character, is Stefan, himself, as he goes through, he starts to wonder, am I controlling these actions?
Right.
And it plays upon his mental issues as well. He goes to a psychologist a few times in this, depending. And at first, the choices are innocuous and don't mean anything, like corn flakes, frosted flakes, or like corn puffs or whatever for breakfast. Thompson Twins, or now This Is Music Volume 2, which I guess they had back in '84. I had no idea. But then they start to matter, like working for the software company. Taking a drug or not that Colin wants you to take. You're like, and that's like the mentor programmer he looks up to, Stefan. But then it just gets creepier and more dark, and I don't give away too much if you haven't seen it. But what's so interesting about this is that when you get to a dead end, you go back. It gives you the option to go directly back to a certain point, not all the way back to the beginning. You go back to a certain point, where it branched off. Not even the decision before necessarily, but like maybe 2 or 3 back where it branched off. Then does a quick replay of the choices you made to that point. And this is all integrated in.
Oh, neat.
There's no loading. I mean, I have a pretty good connection, but there's no loading, by the way, when you make these choices. You get 2 choices. A bar goes from the outside in, and then if you don't make a choice, it makes a default one for you. But whatever choice you make, it flawlessly goes into the next part of it. So you can cycle back around. It's is interesting because there's also themes about different realities and how this is not the only reality we're in. When you go back around, this isn't like a choose your own adventure book entirely where you can thumb back through and start again. Things change when you go back sometimes.
Oh.
Things are not, the choices you come back to sometimes change. So this is extremely, extremely clever. Like, this is the best sort of theme you could probably do for a choose your own adventure movie based upon a guy making a choose your own adventure game. So it's naturally built into that, and him kind of losing his mind developing the game. And it's a feat of filmmaking. Like, they just put, like I said, this one movie pushed back the entire season because they had to think about how to make a film like this with like, there's 5 or 6 full endings. I got the 2, you can call them good endings, I guess, but there's a lot of other mini endings that are really dark and disturbing and violent. And there's probably 4 hours of stuff in here. But you can get through the story in like 90 minutes to 2 hours, depending on how much you want to go back through and how much you want to stop. But they had to film probably 2 to 3 movies worth of stuff. And I can't imagine that with the continuity and the script editors working on this, like, how do you write this?
Yeah.
Like,
that sounds like it'd be pretty damn
like a choose your own adventure. But like I said, when you go back, sometimes things change. So you have to branch back where it's different than the first time you went through. Like, it's nuts. Like, when I went back through, I'm like, wait a minute, that wasn't the choices before. It looks similar, but now these choices, one is different than the other. So when you click on that, then it branches you to a whole different path. It's nuts. So if you don't like, I would still watch this. Yeah. I would still watch it. And like I said, you can go to what was it? Is it
Tucker?
Is it Tucker Software? Bandersnatch software. They made a whole website. Obviously there was no websites in the 80s, but they made it. Was it Tuckersoft? And they even had, it's Tuckersoft, yeah. It's Tuckersoft.net. So they even had in the movie universe, they even had like a simplistic early sort of like gaming or PC software review show in Great Britain is where it takes place because we didn't have the ZX Spectrum here. So they had a kid reviewing the game. So the game comes out eventually, but there's like 4 different reviews of the kid reviewing it on the same show based upon the path you take. Like the game not being completed, Not to give away too much, but something happens to the author, and then so it's an oddity. So it's very interesting. There's one where it comes out and it gets a 5-star rating. It's like the, you know, this kid's like probably like 25 with his glasses. Like, it's a great game, 4 out of 5 stars. But if you go into Tucker Soft, you can download the Nosedive. So they went all out for this. They went all out for this. Then there's other, you can look on the history, and there's like 9 games there. Roach Busters, Pig in a Poke, and it has like that sort of like...
All I see is job opportunities.
You see the job opportunities?
No, that's all I see. I don't see the options for anything else.
Okay, so you click on the history.
It says the official home of Tucker Soft on the World Wide Web.
Yeah.
And it shows the pig, and it says check back later, and then it says jobs and opportunities.
And Bandersnatch was canceled. It's a list of all the titles.
Right, literally, this is the only thing I get.
Okay, well, you had the wrong site. You needed that. Oh, you need the full. All right, slash. So now this is great. We're prepared for the podcast. /Ealing, EALING 20541. Fuck it. We're moving on from this topic.
Sure.
Because you didn't see it.
Anyway.
But doesn't it sound interesting?
It does.
It builds the whole.
That actually sounds more interesting than I thought.
And it builds in even like all like it's 80s to a T, even though it's not US 80s. It's similar. There's like some new wave stuff and sort of attitude. And the styling, and you see all nice computers. They talk about the Commodore 64 a little bit, and things of that nature. I wish we had the ZX Spectrum. It would have been interesting to have played that.
Indeed.
All right, Ian. Huge news on Christmas miracle.
On Christmas Day, the Video Game History Foundation dropped the ROM for SimCity on the NES. It was the 2 cartridges were found with it last year. And Frank Cifaldi of the Video Game History Foundation managed to snag the ROM of one. It will snag it, get the ROM, dump it, and after about a year, I think after compiling all sorts of history and notes on it, basically wanting the release to go perfectly, it was released on Christmas, which is fantastic. It is SimCity. Almost to a T in terms of what if you ever played it on the PC or computer. It's similar to the SNES version, although there are some differences. And yeah, it was a team up between Will Wright and Shigeru Miyamoto, and
they got together. Sounds like they actually got together.
Yeah, and yeah, it just never made it out for the NES. No idea why. It's perfectly playable, probably just because it didn't make sense at the time to release it, perhaps. But
they want to push it. They probably figured this time the Super Nintendo's coming out, we want to push the Super Nintendo version.
Right, exactly.
Like, why deal with this?
Especially because at the time it was a big game. It was a game that,
oh yeah,
I don't know if it necessarily would have sold systems, but might as well push it for your newer system, I suppose.
And the fact that it wasn't on the Genesis. Super Nintendo said probably, we have the power to do this. We got the deal to do this. So let's just push it on our brand new console at the time.
Right.
I mean, it makes sense when you think about it. But it looks like the NES version, from what I gathered, that could have been created almost before the Super Nintendo one. They sort of like based some pieces off of it.
And it includes things like the gift system, the present system. There's bank loans and stuff like that helps. That was more iconic when it came around to like SimCity 2000. So there are things that...
Yeah, they built some stuff for the Super Nintendo version that the PC version took after.
Exactly. So it's a really full-featured, and I mean, from the little bit I've played, it's a really fun version of SimCity, and it works surprisingly well with a controller.
It's easy to get around on the Super one. See, I never got into the Super Nintendo SimCity.
I like that version.
I like the mouse, and I went to 2000 when 2000 came out, and what was that, 94?
Actually, I think the original SimCity is the only SimCity I've ever really played.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
2000 is a benchmark. I think that's one where people that's like...
Oh, yeah, people love it. But yeah, I never played SimCity.
Well, the original is obviously great as well. So this was a title that we never thought we'd see this. This was like one of the... This, to me, was one of the bigger lost NES games around with depending on who you talk to, there may or may not have been a prototype of Hellraiser.
Right.
But this is one of the biggies because this is a first-party game.
Right. This was shown in January of 1991, and
it was on TV shows.
Basically disappeared right after that.
Yeah. I believe this is the one. This was on the shelf of Seinfeld as well. This is one of the games that was on the shelf.
Oh no, I'm talking about how the prototype. It's big because the prototype was seen in 1991 and never seen again.
Well, that's what I mean though. But it was on Seinfeld.
Oh sure.
There was a box art of it. So that's why this was one of those games where you would expect this to come out based upon all the press, and for a first party Nintendo game not to come out after everyone thought it was coming out is kind of strange. You know, there's not really an analog to this that I can think of where it's going to come out, and then they can it. So going back to PRGE 2017, where this was almost lost. This was almost lost to a collector that was going to buy both carts, and lock them in a freaking vault. So this is why you need stuff like GameHistory.org. That's where you go. That's why you need these people. You need people
like Frank and Steve and people like that who make the things happen so that this isn't lost to time.
Hey, I offered to help out if I could. Thankfully, I didn't need to, but this all happened over that weekend. It was touch and go, and there was some tweets about that, like this was close to being again lost. But yeah, check out this article because it delves into. I mean, this is a huge amount of detail in terms of the history of the game, how SimCity originally started as a build on to what the hell was that Broader-Run game? Raid on Bungling Bay.
Yes.
And then Will Wright said, "Oh, this is fun, just using like the builder tool. Let's make a full game out of this." And yeah, and then there you go. Then you have this whole new genre basically popping out of it. And the game is not finished. You can play a lot of it, but it's not finished. But there's already an open source project that I saw where there's already a guy going in and making some of the stuff looks like try to work and changing the code here and there to try to make things functional. There was I remember I read one that was literally a copy and paste error that he found. That's why one part of the game wasn't functioning correctly. Oh. So he switched it. He's like, "Oh, it's a copy and paste error. It wasn't correct." So that's a whole other conversation about if this is an open source project, you have the chance of getting this to the point where this could be a full game. You can, and there's two full audio samples, a helicopter traffic sound, and there's also Bowser roar, like roaring. So this is a pretty high tech NES game, especially given the fact that all the horsepower you need to calculate all this stuff out, to simulate the city in real time, and to do all those calculations behind the scene. That's not a small feat for something like an NES to do.
No.
While still having it be a playable version that you can compare it to, obviously you're not gonna have all the, the rotating things and the zoom in and zoom out of the Super Nintendo version and things like that. But if this came out on the NES, this is something that would have done very well for people that still have the NES, didn't have the Super Nintendo. You agree with that?
Yes.
People would have been drawn to this because this is a computer type game that was so rare to see on the NES. You only got like a handful of games like Lemmings, like Overlord, which I still can't figure out, like games that were these directly PC genre, real-time strategy games or strategy games. A lot of those didn't make it to the NES because the NES couldn't handle them or they didn't look right on them,
So this I did not know. Apparently, one of the big differences is the zone tiles are 2x2 on the NES, but the present tiles are 3x3. So you can't do like the strategies like surrounding things with buildings to bring up the property value and stuff.
Oh, I saw about that. I didn't realize that was a thing. No wonder my property values always stunk. So you establish a nice property and you build around it.
Yeah, and you encircle it.
Oh.
And then, yes, here it is. The soundtrack is fantastic.
Oh, they already ripped the soundtrack and they put it online. Yeah, that's right.
The soundtrack is awesome. And it was done by Soyo Oka, the composer of Super Mario Kart and Pilot Wings.
Nice.
And while she did do the music for the Super Nintendo, she composed her tracks uniquely for each platform. In fact, only one track, the Metropolis theme, is common between the two versions. Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, if you look at the title screen, the title screens are similar between the two versions. They have the cute little Dr. Wright scenes. This is all on the Video Game History Foundation's YouTube channel. You can see they uploaded a bunch of stuff here. I'm hoping that we'll be able to see a completed open source version. That'd be great. That'd be fantastic to see that. But again, go check out GameHistory.org. They accept donations. Frank and pals and Kelsey and everyone else and Steve do great work when it comes to this stuff. So this is a monumental day. I'm hoping we see more days like this in the future where, this stuff is saved and then not just preserved. You get this great history article, and then you get the ROM that you can play for yourself. Anything else to add, Ian?
No, just looking at some of the stuff that I was unaware of, like boat tiles. Most of the boat tiles and some partial floating behavior exist in the NES ROM, but are never used during normal gameplay.
I forgot this was Nintendo Power as well. I forgot about that. There's a preview of it. Wonder, we'll see if this comes to a completion, and then we could maybe play it on a future NES marathon. That'd be cool.
Alrighty,
Ian, we have a scumbag seller
update
of the week. Update. Okay, so Soulja Boy is a big businessman.
A while ago, yeah.
Well, he's worth some money, I guess. So we talked about Soulja Boy. Was it SouljaWatch.com?
SouljaWatch.com, where he was going to be selling the Soulja game console.
Multiple consoles. There was a Chinese PS3 looking knockoff.
By the time we even got to our segment, he had already released like 2 more consoles.
There was a handheld one like a DS. There's also SouljaGame.com. And then, so the problem with these, Ian, it's not the fact that they're just clone consoles, which by itself is fine. The fact that they had tons of ROMs on them that were not licensed.
Right. Exactly. Tons and tons. And then he got very... So people went out of their way to, explain to
kindly point out that this was problematic.
To Mr. Tellum that is Soulja his first name, Boy his middle, and Tellum his last. Anyways,
Tell him.
Soulja B. Tellum, to let him know that this is not a good idea. This looks like crap.
It looks sleazy to begin with, but not being legal as well.
Yes, but also that this is going to present him some problems in the legal department because he's selling shit that isn't his, that he does not have the right to.
So he lashed out at people using homophobic slurs,
taunting Nintendo,
saying this is people trying to keep the black man down. When even Soulja Boy's own fan base, he has fans, some of them saying this is not the right move for you to do.
In fact, I would go so far as to say that 98% of the backlash, or 98% of the response was people being like, this is a bad idea.
Yes. Either out of curiosity or trying to warn him or laughing, but whatever angle you want to say, everyone's been saying this is not good.
Yeah.
It was, I would say, near universally saying this is not good to do. This is not like people coming at you for selling your shitty Fitbit knockoff from China. Do that whenever the hell you want to do that stuff. Or sell, you know what I mean? Sell whatever tchotchkes you got from AliExpress and upcharging. But when it comes to games that are copyrighted, that's something else.
Yeah, when it comes to stuff loaded on it.
Especially when some of them people are sometimes overprotective of Nintendo. People go after Nintendo sometimes for lawsuits they feel are not necessary, or shutting down fan games, things like that. But in this case, it was, like I said, it was near universally where people are like, this is not good. I didn't see any major YouTubers say like, oh, the Soulja Boy's doing whatever he's doing is fine. There was
I did see some false outrage of
the people drumming up false outrage, saying that people are defending Soulja Boy when no one really was defending Soulja Boy.
But hey, whatever, that's cute.
Do whatever you do to get a couple more bucks in your pocket. So people behind the scenes were pondering about this. This even, JonTron did a video mentioning this, and that gets millions of views. So that's what we warned about, was when this gets seen by a lot of people.
He came out of nowhere to do a video?
I think he did a video.
Jesus. Okay, so everyone jumped on this shit.
Yeah, he's got to keep that apartment in New York. But everyone came after. And what we said was, like, when you're a celebrity doing this, the spotlight's on you even more. So it's not definitive what happened, but we think Nintendo may have given him a little talking to.
May have poked him a little bit.
Might have sent him a little C&D.
He didn't ever really fully announce it, or at least at first, but he was like, hey, I got a boss up. And didn't explain anything, but that was the day where everything was removed from the website.
Well, first he said, well, keep waiting. The games were licensed to us. They weren't licensed to. Why you all want to see a black man fail so bad? That was on December 28th. Then literally, like a day or two after that, He says, had a boss up. Literally the next day, I had a boss up. I didn't have a choice. So between that one tweet and the next, he got that nice letter from Nintendo saying, yeah, you got to fucking cut this shit off now.
Yeah, or one of his lawyers finally sat him down and was
said,
like,
listen, idiot.
Dude, this is not... This isn't going to work.
Even before you were railing against the world that people are trying to keep you down, which is idiotic, what are you doing? So, yeah, I guess this is the natural solution. He had a
I'm going to release the CU jukebox that's got nothing. It's an MP3 player that's just loaded with Soulja Boy songs. And then we'll see what happens.
Yeah, he'd be okay with that. I think we got to do a CU console. Legally, we got to do a CU console. We have to.
Do you have to legally do a
We have to do a CU console. I think we have to.
After all of these false, fake, bullshit consoles, we really do need one that looks like it's fucking wrapped in a deli wrapper. One controller port only.
Has a television, paper thin Atari 5200.
Only plays the shareware versions of Apogee games you can get out of.
Hey, that's
magazine.
legal. We can put all the 90s. We can put Doom episode 1 on there. Wolfenstein episode 1.
Commander Keen.
We can do all that. So I don't know if this means a lawsuit is going to go forward, or if C&D was sent cease and desist, and Nintendo's satisfied by this. But they didn't want like Soulja Boy doing this. Then you have then who knows? Maybe Cisco does his Sega console.
Cisco,
like you have all these other
pulling that right out of the fucking.
Well, I was gonna say
a little Drew Hill.
Someone you haven't heard of Drew Hill? My God,
well, Cisco was part of Drew Hill.
I don't remember that even. But people from 15 years ago you haven't heard of anymore. So we're not saying you can't be an entrepreneur. No one's trying to keep you down, right? Just do it in an ethical, legal way. And
when people try to point out to you that it's not ethical or legal, maybe don't launch homophobic slurs at them.
Yeah, and don't go overtly defensive about it. And maybe talk to your lawyer. If you got millions, supposedly you're worth...
You've got a lawyer on retainer, I'm sure.
Supposedly you're worth 20, 30 million. You got a lawyer somewhere who can tell you what the hell you're doing. Plus, it just looks sleazy. It just looks sleazy selling knockoff items and rebranding them. It just looks sleazy. By the way, Ian, if you go to Soulja
Game takes you to
Game.com, right? Now takes you to Nintendo.com/3DS. So that would make you think that as part of the C&D that they said to him, you got to redirect to our site. Maybe that's where he had his 3DS knockoff looking thing for sale. Maybe.
Yeah, who knows?
Maybe.
There it is. 3DS.
There it is. So Nintendo got in there, and the memes were great with Reggie as a ninja and things like that. There was one meme where it was Smash Brothers. It was Smash Brothers Ultimate, and it was player 1 was Soulja Boy, player 2 was Reggie.
Oh,
and
I saw that.
The rest were Nintendo lawyers
with all the Mii fighters.
All the Mii fighters. It was hysterical. So all right, Godspeed, Soulja Boy. Put out an album again, or do something like that. Okay, Ian, speaking of problematic consoles, this is an update.
Dreamcade Replay. We talked about this.
Twice. We talked about this, I believe. Mm-hmm. I covered it maybe originally while you were sick in early 2000. And
then we did a
17.
deeper dive on it. And then... we've talked about it twice.
Because they were on Thunderdome with Steve Harvey to fund this after the original Kickstarter failed. And okay, what is this? This is a emulation RetroPie style retro box. The difference with this one was that this one has a search function built into it where you can search a Pitfall and it will download the ROM for you.
Yeah.
And I said at the time, that's not legal. And the people came after me in the comments and on Twitter saying, I don't know what I was talking about. I want to be on your pod. No, fuck off. I'm not going to advertise your shit for you. I already did it.
I love how these people, whenever this happens, people always scramble to, it's legal, but they don't explain how they've magically made it legal this time.
So we spoke to our IP lawyer. That was the first bad idea they had. Without that, it's perfectly legal to load up a shitty RetroPie style thing with all off-the-shelf, RetroArch and other emulators. But then they go on Thunderdome, and I had a problem with that because they're misrepresenting. Like, oh yeah, we have 8,000 games on here, or however many. And Steve Harvey's like, how do you do that? And it's like, the producer should have researched that shit and realized this was not good to begin with. Right. They go on the show, they relaunch their Kickstarter from the publicity. It's like, because it's like going on Shark Tank and People are going to see you no matter what, even if you don't get a deal. And then they got the deal. They beat out that nice, kindly old woman with her little yarn ball thing, which annoyed me. Because that was actually an invention, not this bullshit. This was not an invention. They didn't invent anything. They didn't write their own code for any bullshit. They didn't do their own hardware.
They just slapped a bunch of bullshit
off
together.
the shelf garbage. So it was an Atari 2600 looking little console. They were charging what, between like 130 and like 200 for different levels or more. I'm not looking back through this bullshit. But they raised a lot of money. If you click on the Kickstarter, they raised a lot of money. They raised the Dreamcade Replay, one console to rule them all. They raised $228,000, Ian, and they sent out a bunch of early units to some YouTubers.
Right.
And I wasn't on the list because fuck this shit. But that helped as well. I won't get into the ethics of that at this point. That's not the point I'm trying to make right here. But then they had the one more thing that was bad. They had the app that with your phone where you can snap all the games, all the Turbo games on the shelf, all those Saturn games, all those NES games. You can take a picture of it. It would automatically download it to your console.
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
They advertised that.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't think it ever came out, but they advertised that.
Okay, yeah.
So Ian,
discussing that.
So this finally was in people's hands around, I think the summer it started to get into people's hands. And, excuse me, not the summer. Yes, yeah, it was delayed. It was usually supposed to be December a year ago, and I think it came out somewhat after that. Wasn't the best response to this console coming out.
Nope.
First of all, the console looked entirely different. It was an entirely different shell. It's a generic shell that they branded Dreamcade on. It's not 2600 anymore. And then no N64 sound out of the box. Screen tearing going on. Not properly. It wasn't properly configured default wise. I watched this video by ETA Prime. The emulation for Dreamcast is not good because you know why? This isn't powerful enough to run some of those newer consoles.
Of course not.
Saturn emulation is subpar. Basically, like the frame rates are terrible, or they were playing it was on Dreamcast. I think it was Sonic Adventure. Like these black bars start coming in. It's just not. It can't run it. So the CPU is garbage. It's insufficient for, according to this for ETA Prime, Wii U, PS2, GameCube, Sega Saturn, Dreamcast. It might be maybe Wii, not Wii U. But so basically, once you get to the year 2000, it's not powerful enough to do this shit.
Yeah.
So, which is unfortunate. Anything before that, you have a chance, but it's not powerful enough.
Here's one hell of a 1-star review. This is August 27th. So is more stuff just crashing down around them now?
Well, no. I think you can't buy this anymore. Gotcha. I don't think.
Okay.
I think because there are so many problems with this. So if there's a ton of different listings on Amazon for this. I don't know why there's like 20 different listings. So we'll just click on the one Dreamcade Replay with no joystick. 6 reviews if you want to run through them.
So I'm looking at this one. We got duped. Console to fool us all. Bottom line, not what we were promised. I can play Donkey Kong no problem. Could have done that on tons of other emulator hardware consoles, etc. But trying to do Quake 2 or Diddy Kong Racing on N64, unplayable, choppy, sound issues, and tearing. Load the same titles on my old Xbox with the X2 Executor mod chip, and it worked flawlessly. I contacted Dreamcade, and they offered to give me my money back since it was over a year ago. The money had been spent and gone, and I'm going to keep it as a Windows PC.
The next reviewer, it's a mini PC with a broken emulator front end. What was promised and what was delivered were two entirely different things. Apparently, this machine is the same mini PC that can be bought elsewhere. What a shock. You're not inventing anything. Down to the same exact design. Considering I paid $100 for the early bird, it's not bad. However, a mini PC is not what I was wanting. See, they advertise this as a game console.
Right.
It's not a console. It's a shitty little mini PC with a emulator front end.
Yeah, the word console is being thrown around quite a bit.
Yes.
too liberally.
Yes.
Right now, especially like if you go back to the Soulja Boy stuff, those aren't consoles either.
Sure. You must do a lot of tinkering, and even then, it's not worth it. I ended up taking that off and just installed emulators the old-fashioned way. Really disappointed. The next review, poor. Back to Kickstarter, was still stoked for this, but it failed in every way. No sound in N64. No two-player ability. Piss poor control compatibility. Get a Raspberry Pi, you'll save some money and lots of stress. Not a console from Blaine Smith. Not a console. I'm 4 hours into unboxing and setup, still not playing. This is no console. I feel very much ripped off. This is not a plug-and-play solution as advertised. This is not a main plug-and-play solution. It's a mini PC with a so-so front end for emulation. Many ROMs don't run at all, and the mapping for the controller doesn't always work correctly. This is trash. And people will say, well, you go to the forums, there's workarounds, you can fix the N64 sound issue, you do some tinkering,
you didn't buy it for workarounds.
You're buying a product that raised over $200,000. This should have shipped working. This was a cash grab. And it preyed upon people not knowing better that this existed in other forms and that this was not a console. This is something anyone could have slapped together and sold and done a Kickstarter for.
Right.
We've seen it with the Retro Engine Sigma. We've seen it with this. And we've seen other ones as well. But I'm the bad guy for pointing this out to everyone for this stuff. Ian's the bad guy. I'm not going to interview over your shitty product. I'm not.
Yeah.
It's just garbage.
It's not going to help, and it's not going to help. You're not going to tell us anything that we don't already.
And we're not like other people. And I've seen this happen with other YouTubers where once someone either confronts them or talks to them, they back down. They fold like a fucking cheap suit at that point.
Oh, sure.
They're like, oh, well, you're talking to me. You're important to talk to me. Well, I'm not going to hit you with any tough questions now. It's like, then what is that's? You're giving them free PR. You're not
doing news at that point.
Well, no. Well, you're not increasing your stature because you got this cool interview with someone making a product. If you're not asking them questions that are worthy, you're just then a shill for their product. If you're not doing your due diligence as, I hate to say, a journalist or whatever else.
Sure.
You're not doing any good as protecting consumers, doing any consumer advocacy at all at that point. So when you look at the comments on the Kickstarter for this, it's not good. The first comment from 8 days ago, a super backer, by the way, wasn't one of the primary goals of the project to make gaming simple? All these workarounds, tutorials, and hacks are exactly the opposite. I backed this project because I wanted to enjoy some old school games without having to screw around with hardware and software issues.
So people were still getting these as of 8 days ago.
I guess there were some issues. I have no idea. If you look at the comments though, which are open, you can see this one guy.
I saw that one.
Some one guy called Wheat Pasta is trying to help everyone out with their issues. Yep. Going through, which is good for him. But this is you shouldn't be doing their work for this company. That they got their money. They got it from you. You know, they won. They got one over on you guys here. You know, when it comes to this, people are asking questions about how to tearing issues. I'm finally giving up fighting a losing battle and trying to get this thing to work. Spend more time fixing it than playing it. Even once you finally get it working, something else goes randomly wrong, which you have to research to fix.
Careful sharing your negative opinions of this POS. They will block you. Mine now sits on my kid's desk with MS Word installed. I basically spent $240 on word processor.
Seriously, how the hell didn't anyone notice there were big problems with it before launch? Something like the N64 not having sound. No, that just means you didn't test it at all at that point. You just didn't test it.
Or you did and you didn't care.
Or that. You got your money, you don't care.
I'm more of that. I think that's probably the truth.
It will now have to sit in the cupboard in the hope that the major promised update in several months fixes the usability problems. I pray that they fix it. They got to get a software guy to do it.
Has anyone even talked about the search bar? Is the search bar even included in this now?
Well, you can search though. Okay. They still claim that's somehow legal, that it's pulling the ROM from, I think, Web Archive or whatever. But they never did the app for that.
So, but there is still the search bar. Anyways, I mean,
this is a great one. This is a great one, Ian. This gets better. I don't know how we didn't talk about this before. This came to mind when this happened. Last week, I emailed shipping@dreamcade.com with a return refund inquiry. Has been instructed here and elsewhere, but I haven't gotten a reply. Is there somewhere else I'm supposed to contact, or is that still the correct address? Dream Arcades replied, unfortunately, we can't offer refunds to Kickstarter backers at this time. Refunds were only an option for pre-orders in a 30-day window. However, if you're having trouble with your unit, contact us. That's bullshit. You can find out who this person is and get their fucking money back. You can go through a return. You can do that. I've worked with Kickstarter before. There's nothing in the system that can't say you can't go around it or work within it. This is bullshit.
Yeah.
This is bullshit. They just want tons of people to do this, and then all their money goes back to the people for a shitty product.
Really, what this all comes back around to very easily is just stop it with these consoles. Don't buy them. Don't make them.
Seems like they slowed down a little bit in 2018, but with the Soulja Boy thing, now Pandora's box is reopened.
Well, I mean, we've got our console in the works, so.
Oh, see you console coming. Jesus Christ.
Shareware.
What a disaster. And this is why we do this stuff, by the way. Now these people are, 1,600 people have a shitty console that's running Microsoft Word for their kid that they spent $240 on. It's ridiculous. And we're proud to be partnering with Robinhood. It's an investing app that lets you buy and sell stocks, ETFs, options, and cryptos, all commission-free. They try to make financial services work for everyone, not just the wealthy. Now, what's so cool about the app? There are no commission fees when you trade. Other brokerages charge up to $10 for every trade. I've been on websites, I won't name them, that charge you per buying and selling. If you sell one stock or 10, they charge you the same. But Robinhood doesn't charge commission fees. Trade stocks and keep all of your profits. It's designed for ease of use with easy to understand charts and market data. Place a trade in just 4 taps on your smartphone. And it lets you view stock collections like 100 most popular sectors like entertainment, social media, and more. And there's analyst ratings to buy, hold, or sell for every stock. So the fine people at Robinhood are giving you guys, our listeners, a free stock like Apple, Ford, or Sprint to help build your portfolio. Sign up at cupodcast.robinhood.com. That's cupodcast.robinhood.com. Get trading today. CU Podcast is proudly working with NordVPN. That's what I use to keep myself safe online, and you can too if you care about your privacy and the security of your info. NordVPN is giving you all 66% off a 2-year plan when you go to nordvpn.com/CU Podcast or use code CU Podcast at checkout. VPN, Ian, it's a virtual private network. Having one today is more critical than ever because if you're doing anything online, your info and browsing habits are out there for anyone to get a hold of. When you use NordVPN, you have access to over 4,000 super speedy servers in 62 countries. And those connections secure your information using military-grade encryption. It means your info and what you do online is nearly impossible to track. There's an app for the phone, Mac devices, PC, Windows, Android phones. One account gets you up to 6 devices of protection. Just one account. And the folks at PC Mag made NordVPN their top choice for a VPN, their editor's top choice. And so get that special offer. 66% off a 2-year plan. Go to nordvpn.com/CU Podcast or use code CU Podcast and get going with your secure web browsing today. It's New Year's Day. It's early.
Voice cracks a little.
Yeah. All right.
So, anyways, just a quick note here about a man using a zapper covered in tape to rob a bank.
This is a fun story to us, even though it was armed robbery technically.
The zapper is not a realistic looking gun. However, this is not the first usage of a light gun in a crime, which is why I want to cover this up.
I don't know the history of this.
So I have to look it up. But anyway, so yes, a man unfortunately took a zapper, covered it up with a bunch of tape to make it
black tape,
so it doesn't look as colorful, I guess.
Black masking tape, electrical tape.
He was apprehended shortly after the robbery attempt, it says here, and is now being investigated for 15 other crimes.
In Hermosillo, Mexico.
So, I mean, there we have it. Apparently they didn't make it look not enough like a gun. Or if you're clever enough and you just have some electrical tape or whatever the fuck that is, you can mask it.
I like how the red trigger, you can still see the bottom of it.
Yeah, I can see that, yeah. So,
well, here's the thing, Ian. If you're a teller, your job is just to give up the money.
Yeah.
It's insured. It's not worth your life.
Nope.
Even if you know it's fake, it's like, all right, asshole.
Yeah,
take the money. We got a video camera. You're gonna get caught.
Just go.
Yeah. Take the $200 and go.
It's still terrifying.
Oh, sure.
There was another situation. I got to see if I can find the picture of it. I don't even remember how long ago it was. It was ages ago. There is a picture. I think it was in Brazil or South America, somewhere in South America. I think it was Brazil, where a guy, there was a standoff between a dude and the police for I think it was an hour.
Oh, it was a Master System.
The Master System.
Yeah,
gun.
Brazil. Come on, Master System was huge there.
Yeah, but it was the
I remember that.
It was the light.
That was a few years ago, right?
No, it was a long time ago.
Oh,
I'm actually going to try to find it right now.
So this is interesting just because, I mean, this is, when you grew up with toys originally in the 80s, toy guns, they looked like real guns. Cap guns looked like real guns. I walked into my local deli. I had a Cornerstone Deli, which was in a location where nothing else was. It was like literally in neighborhood gas station deli. It was weird. Like mom and pop ran deli. You'd buy a cap gun that was black, like a 6-shooter revolver with with the ring caps, which was awesome.
Yeah.
This is like 1987 around. You can still buy this stuff. 88. Then they passed a law because kids started getting shot by cops. Because you could buy Uzis that look like... They used to sell like those Rambo guns, M16 pack. Like... So they
I had a big black gun that said Tommy gun on it, and it had a thing that you pulled back. It was a plastic thing, and when you pulled the trigger, it just made the most awful, loud, like ratcheting machine gun noise. And I'm like, this probably isn't a good thing for kids.
But we didn't realize that. And I mean, Ian didn't get killed, so no one got hurt. But they passed a law, some kids did, where you had to have like neon colors on guns. They made guns look a little more unrealistic. They were orange and green.
You had to, at the very least, you had to have like an orange front on it.
At least.
Yeah.
But
after that, it got pretty...
They stopped selling military-style toy guns by the 90s. They pretty much stopped it at that point.
Yeah, so
they used to have remember the Laramie battery-operated machine water guns? They looked like Uzis. They looked like real guns.
I had one of those, and it looked like a real gun.
Yeah.
Man holds woman hostage for 10 hours with a Sega light gun. That was in 2009.
Oh, okay. So not too far back. So, hey, he had his collection sitting around. Is he going to get it?
10 fucking hours.
So this is my point with this though, is that you're desperate. You're going to rob a bank with a zapper of all things. I think you'd be more effective saying I have a bomb, and it's going to go off, because almost anyone of a certain age knows what a zapper looks like. No one was probably fooled by that being a real gun unless
I had explosive diarrhea, and I'm going to blow.
I'll give you $200 to get the hell out.
Give me all the money before I create a big mess.
Yeah, it's interesting. Nintendo Life ran a story as well covering this. But yeah, they changed how the zapper looked to be more unrealistic, because it was gray and that wasn't enough. So they made it the orange, orangey red orange, wherever you want to say it. They did that around 87, 88. They switched it over to that. That's why there's two different versions of the zapper and two different action sets. Because of that, really three if you want to get technical. But all right, I'm being nerdy.
I don't want to get technical.
Yeah, I don't want to, because I have every box variant, which I'm probably going to sell half of them this year. All right, that's all. It's a funny story. No one got hurt. Hopefully the bank tellers are like, okay, it's a fucking zapper. I'm like 35. I know what a zapper looks like, you idiot. And they got him. They tracked him down. 15 other crimes. There you go. It's New Year, Ian.
It is.
We have an old Patreon though.
It's at patreon.com/CU podcast.
Woo! It's a new year. And Ian didn't get through it.
Oh, new year.
So Ian does his weekly writings. He should have another one in a couple of days, hopefully.
Yeah.
Monthly hangouts with Ian.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll pop in this month. For who knows. And then also you can access the full video. Full video of the podcast. But we also have Patreon Q&A poll topic. So this was a weird one.
And secret nudes.
Now I got it. Secret nudes.
Yeah.
I'll get us kicked off, I think. I'm not sure. Do they allow nudes on Patreon? I don't know.
Yeah, you can do all sorts of porn stuff on nudes? Patreon.
Okay.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Oh, yeah.
Don't tempt us.
That's a big thing.
Oh, for like fan art?
And
furry nude
do
art
it
stuff
too. And
really?
Yeah. You can put up like boudoir sets. But there's tons of like, and don't ask me how I know.
So I can post nudes on my personal Patreon?
Probably.
Don't tempt me.
But there is.
I'll do a premium Snapchat.
There are plenty of porn games in development on Patreon. Boobs and dicks everywhere.
So Patreon develops the boob games, not Kickstarter. Okay, I didn't know that. I have no idea. I don't know about the dark underbelly of
boob
Patreon.
gaming.
I know Patreon. I have no idea.
Okay.
All right, I'm gonna do nudes. I'm gonna do my nice little layout. The zapper covering my.
God, stop.
Anyway, so
a tasteful zapper.
So in third place, we decided to make this a regular topic. Are you a scumbag buyer if you snipe on eBay? 90%. I'm kind of shocked by that. At second place, 29%. Do you feel that the market dictates retro game prices, or some nonsensical? And for the new year, people don't want to talk about retro games in the market. 52%. I don't know who came up with the idea for this.
I believe it was
me or
a
you?
Q&A.
Was it?
I believe it was a Q&A that we just socked back.
Hey, this is what you're missing on YouTube and not being on Patreon. Would Pat and Ian have been friends as children? At 52%. We'll just want to say like 10 years old. That's like the prime age of a child, about 9, 10. We'll just say about that. 10, 11, you want to say?
10 years old, let's see.
Nintendo playing age?
I had not yet had my spirit broken by people constantly making fun of me.
Oh no!
Although it wasn't good at the time. At 10, I was probably still in that period where I would try to be friends with anyone.
10 is 5th grade, right? Okay.
Yeah. So
no, it's 4th grade.
So I mean, Right.
Fifth grade.
Fifth grade.
Should be 10.
So, yeah, fifth grade. Yeah, I think we would have been friends. That was my first year in public school, and I was desperate to just make some friends.
I don't get too specific on the biography. I just meant in general for our personalities and how we were.
Yeah, I think I'm just trying to put it back in my head in time.
He's giving context.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we would. I think we would be friends.
Oh, okay. You went nowhere with that, but okay.
Yeah.
Why would you have been friends with Plucky Pat?
Well, like
Chubby
I said,
young Plucky Pat.
at that point in time, I had just moved from. I had just gone from Catholic school, where I hated everyone,
I was at Catholic school.
to public school, where some of my friends were. So
Okay.
that was nice. And middle school and fifth grade ended up not being very great for me socially. But at that time, I was still kind of like, hey, I can be anyone's friend. So,
Sure.
yes.
And that's how I was. I could talk to. There was like the, not really, I guess, jock group, but not really. It was like the cool kids group. There was like the one or two bullies in there, but there's also some kids that were kind of athletes. Then you had sort of like the normal kids, and I would mostly be with them, more like the normal kids. And there'd be a floater that go from the popular to the normal. You know, then you had like the nerdy kids. You know, then you had like sort of the outcast 2 or 3, something like that. There was like 4 to 5 groups. And I could talk and be friends. I try to be friends with everyone, at least talk to everyone.
Yeah, I was still doing that.
I didn't bully kids. I think I was bullied earlier years. I wasn't bullied by the time I got to 5th grade. I was bullied probably until like 3rd or 4th grade, where Thomas would call me Fat Pat. Being named Pat and being overweight is probably the worst as a kid. So, by the time I got to 5th grade, I was like, all right, I was over that. I was friendly with the girls as well. I was kind of friendly. I was probably like the Pat, I was harmless. You know what I mean? So yeah, I would have talked to Ian, but I don't know how Ian would have presented himself as young Ian. Would you have been shy? Would you have been, I like Nintendo games? And we would have headed off. I would invite you to my bowling birthday party.
I was probably disastrously earnest and very enthusiastic about what I enjoyed. So yeah.
I invited almost everyone to my birthday party. Like in the class, we had in 5th grade we had like 3 classes still. By the time we got to like 7th, there was only 2 because kids left. They made them larger classes, so it was probably 3 classes of about 20 kids each in each grade. So 60 kids, we'll just say, about 30 girls, 30 boys. I invited most of the boys to like my party, and I think some girls too. That was kind of dicey when it came to the girls though. But I invited most of the boys. When you had like a bowling party, you would do that.
Yeah.
Except for I feel bad because there was always like the 2 or 3 kids that really were outcasts. But one of the kids brought it upon himself, I'll just say that. He did weird ass things just to be weird. And I was like, okay, now no one's going to like you, kid. You were seeking attention because probably you hate your father or whatever else. I get that.
Sure.
But no, if you played street hockey or street tennis, we would have been friends.
Street hockey, I did play some street hockey. Of course, that was big. Buffalo.
So
constantly dragging the net away.
So you would have been invited. Once a month, it was the parent, like the teachers' conference thing. So the first, I think, Wednesday of every month or so, you got out at 12 o'clock instead of like 2:30.
Right.
Or I think 2:10 we got out. So I would go to my friend's house, was like literally 5 blocks away. My parents knew that. So it was like, oh my God, we have a full like 5 hours to fucking play before it got dark out. In like March or, you know what I mean? That was like the thing once a month. So you would have been invited to that. You would have came, there was usually 5 or 6 kids. We would have played hockey, 1 net. It was like take it back like half court basketball. Yeah, you would have been invited. Then we played some Nintendo, played some Mortal Kombat and Super Nintendo.
If you were a kid in my neighborhood growing up, my neighborhood growing up was just overrun with street urchins running around all over.
Street urchins.
Yes. We would have traded some games. We would have argued over some street hockey.
You would trade some games. I never traded games. I didn't trust kids.
I was always lending games and back
and
forth.
No, I had bad experiences with other kids I knew that stole stuff or got
really?
stuff stolen. Yeah, I never. No, you know what?
We had a trusting neighborhood.
My Kevin was actually decent at letting me borrow games. I'd borrow DuckTales from him or Ninja Gaiden.
Nice.
Ninja Gaiden, I usually, when I played it as a kid a lot, I usually borrowed it from my friend or rented it. So he was good with that.
So yeah, there were 3 people in the neighborhood that I would reliably trade games with that I trusted. You could have been the 4th.
Okay. All right. You think we would have gotten in a fight eventually as kids? We would come to blows? Mm-hmm. I fought my friends every once in a while.
Oh yeah. We would have. It would have happened.
What do you think would have happened over?
I have no idea. I don't know.
Pining after the same girl?
No. No, you'd probably, I don't know. Probably Something sports related.
A little too competitive.
Yeah.
Slash my ankles, or I slash you. We drop the gloves.
Yeah.
Good old.
That's usually where those contentions came in when I was younger, because I've never loved playing sports, but so many of my friends did. So there would be times where I'd jump in, and then they'd give me shit for not knowing what the fuck I was doing.
Did you play tackle football?
Yeah, we did actually.
I would have creamed you, little skinny Ian.
Yeah.
I was thick. I was thick but quick. I really was. I was thick but quick, little Pat. I never thought of that before, but yeah, even Little League, I was chubby. I could still the pitchers were surprised when I was still based. Like, what? They're like, what? Because I was motoring, chubby little Pat. I was always quick as a kid. I was surprisingly quick. Because you had tiers of athleticism in school. We'll just say like 3 tiers of athleticism. You had the elite kids. The kids you knew were like played like traveling soccer was a thing for traveling soccer, or they played a traveling baseball team, because they don't just play Little League. Those were like the elite athletes. Then you had the middle of the pack, and then you had the kids that couldn't tie their shoes together, let alone kick like a kickball. So I hovered near the top of the middle pack. So I was like a B plus, not A, but I was like B plus, B sort of guy. So,
I was C plus B minus.
So I was the guy you'd pick like after the elite tier was gone. I was one of the first after the elite tier. Maybe not the first elite, but I was like, all right, there's like the 5 elite kids, 6 elite. I'd be like maybe 8 or 9. I'd be like, I'm like a 5th round draft pick. 5th or 6th round. I'm not 1st or 2nd for sure, but you want to pick me up, I'm still on the board. I was a good dodgeball player. We played a lot of 10-pin dodgeball, which I didn't know was a thing. So you had pins you had to defend as well.
Yeah,
so it made it more. You played 10-pin dodgeball?
I've played that one before.
How is that not a real dodgeball then? That seems like so much more fun than regular dodgeball, because you got to defend pins.
It was fun. There's all sorts of ways to play dodgeball that are great. So long story short, yeah, Pat and I probably would have been.
We would have been friends. There's no drama. I would have been. I'm friendly towards most people now. It's only I have a problem. People come after me. And then I'm like, okay, all right. You don't want nice Pat? You get mean Pat. You get Jersey Pat. You get Pat when you have Rock Band going on next door at 2 a.m.
Oh, Jesus.
You don't want that Pat to come out. That Pat might come out more this year. I got a feeling that Pat might come out a bit more this year.
Keep it in your pants.
All right. Q&A time on the CU podcast.
Hit me, Pat.
Don't tempt me. If you regularly... This is from @Kodo114, Cody Eaton. If you regularly snipe eBay auctions, should you be considered a scumbag buyer of the week?
So I don't do a whole lot of eBay purchasing, and when I do, it's often not through auction. I just wait for it, buy it now that looks appropriate to me, and
even for your Game Boy games.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You don't want to bargain. It's not enough.
I mean,
well, let's put it this way: there's so few regular auctions for games anymore. It's like 12%, 20% at most. Most are buying.
So I just wait for a decent buy it now to come up. But
and eBay does their sales every now and then too. Where it's like 10% off today only. Like, holy shit.
Yeah, they did like a 15% off one last week. So anyways, I've never done a ton of actual auctions. I have, and I've been sniped, and it sucks. But if you had asked me this 10 years ago, I would have been like, yeah. But it's such a common practice.
Such
a common practice now that
it's not scummy, and this is why.
It's just the way it is.
This is why it's not scummy, because it doesn't alter the eBay rules. And because the eBay rules is if I put in a bid for $20 and it's at $10, it's going to go up to whatever the $10.50 increment unless someone bids above me. It just changes the timing of when that happens so that no one can then come in afterwards. So what sniping does is it prevents the bidding war from happening before the end. My God.
Oh, yeah,
you can hear your foot. I can hear it. So the bidding war before sniping was like, oh, you're going to build the price up from the beginning. It keeps going up. And you get into that psychological war where things go for more than they should. Sniping, in theory, will prevent things from going more than they should, because it's really like a silent auction where everyone puts in their bids and you see where it ends up. It really defines more the value because there's less of the psychological warfare going on. And you don't have to be at your freaking desk.
Right.
So in college, when I was, transitioning from still chubby Pat, I guess, collecting, thick but quick Pat, I had to run back from class to like bid on like that, that large, the big box Gyromite games. When I first saw, oh my God, there's a big box. I had to run back.
Right.
They didn't have like the software tools yet to do that. We're talking like 99, 2000. So that alone, like using these, like now they're just, you can get the programs, but they're browser snipers. Like they work as programs. They're great. And you can set like the time. It's usually like 6 seconds. You put the bid in and that's it. And then you'll knock out the other bids. It's the same as if you put the bid in yourself. Right. It's the same thing. It doesn't change
exactly.
anything.
And I feel like
it keeps the cost down for everyone.
I feel like that's the thing. It alters how the auction
Sniping doesn't mean you're going to win.
Right. The auction doesn't play out the way it used to, but it still plays out the way it should. And it's not going to go for more or for less than it should.
Well, it can go for less because you're eliminating all the bids in the middle that would knock it up.
Right.
It's all at the end. Right. So if someone puts in a bid for a game at $1, and then I know, oh, I want that game, I'm willing to pay 80, and someone's willing to pay 100. What's the difference if we did it at the end versus in the middle?
Yeah,
it still would have went up eventually. That $100 bid would have countered my 80 at some point. It's just happening at the end instead of in the middle. Then someone else can come in and do it.
Yep.
So again, the buyers actually may end up getting less, but it ensures bids get put in though. It ensures stuff doesn't get forgotten. So it makes sure that a lot of stuff doesn't get. It's a lot harder for rare stuff games otherwise get lost by the wayside. It's a lot harder because now when you see something come up in your save search, you put in that bid immediately, you forget about it.
Right.
This is the maximum to pay, $25, it's gone. So yeah, it's great. It doesn't guarantee you're going to win anything. I think people don't understand how the eBay auction bidding system works.
Exactly.
You put your bid in at last doesn't mean you're going to win it. You push up another person's bid, which is higher. So,
yeah, if they've still bid more, they're still going to beat you.
They're still going to get it
because the machine's just going to go.
If you bid the minute an auction opened, say you bid $20, it starts at $1, and I come in and put in my snipe at 17, I'm not going to win it. You're just going to win it at 17.50.
Yeah.
It's going to happen at the end.
Exactly.
So
I'm asking Pat his thoughts on the Twitch New Year's Eve event controversy with Ninja. This question was from Shane at SA Jewers.
Well, you're a big friend. You're friendly with Ninja, and of course, this is the official.
I've been on his stream a few times. Yes,
you discussed the latest hair color. There you go. And being that this is the official Battle Royale podcast, we have to discuss this.
Public Battlegrounds G, coming from CU Publishing, 2019.
We should do that. Do a cheap knockoff Battle Royale game. So, all right. So for New Year's Eve in Times Square, Red Bull did a sponsorship with Twitch. They did this event where he live streamed games from 4 to midnight at Times Square. That's where all the New Year stuff happens. By the way, if you go to those Times Square New Year stuff, God bless you. You're standing outside for a day and a half. You're pissing in a sock. I don't know.
So
I don't know how
I went to the Buffalo one because Buffalo has a little ball that drops.
Got a mini Buffalo ball,
and it's holy shit. Man, that was a long time ago. We put down a pint of Jägermeister. Or no, a liter. We bought a 2-liter bottle of Dr. Pepper.
Okay.
Emptied half of it out. Filled the other half with the liter of Jägermeister. Drank the whole thing down there. My friend ended up crying in a sub shop. It was great. Anyways, don't go out on New Year's Eve. That's like the one time I ever did. It was awful.
But you want to be festive, you want to drink. I don't know. When I went for New Year's in the past,
stay home.
I used to hate when I got dragged up on my cousin on a half-blind date with whatever his date's cousin was or sister. You know, paying $90 to go to some club where you hope they had open bar. But a lot of times you didn't. You got like 2 drinks for $90, and you got hearing loss 3 days later.
Yeah.
You know, like
truth be told, I've worked the vast majority of New Year's Eves. And I actually kind of miss it. I kind of miss bartending like a private party on New Year's Eve. That was always fun.
That was fun. You made cash.
I fucking made bank doing that.
All right,
shit.
We're getting out of the way for the topic. So this is what happened. So Twitch wanted to push this because they have a partnership. Fortnite's huge. Ninja makes whatever $1 million a month at this point. So they put in advertisements for this Twitch event on other Twitch channels. So like the pre-roll ads, you go on a Twitch channel, unless you're I don't know if they do Prime Twitch anymore, but you can sign up and subscribe with that and you don't get the ads. So, but if you don't, you get these pre-rolls or mid-rolls or whatever, post-rolls, whatever else that roll every now and then. So Twitch streamers were noticing that people were saying, oh, they're advertising this other Twitch stream when a lot of people would be playing and streaming at the same time. So you're taking away business from some smaller Twitch streamers who may be partnered or not. They could be partnered, but they're not Ninja. So to them, it was dirty pool.
Yeah, because you're advertising someone else's New Year's Eve show when the reality is lots of streamers were probably trying to do their own New Year's Eve shows. And I mean, and way to reach in and try to grab, fucking that was scummy.
And Ninja doesn't need his own publicity at this point.
No,
he's probably getting paid for the event to be out there and fucking on a stage for 8 hours playing Fortnite in cold New York City. Like, so he's taken care of. He's not hurt by this.
Yeah.
You're just hurting. I understand you have to advertise it. I don't know what a good solution is. Advertising off Twitch, but then you're
I was going to say, at least do it off site. I mean,
but then that's not the audience, though. If you advertise on Facebook, you're going to have like 50-year-old men and women be like, what the fuck is this? I don't want to watch this.
True.
But this is, to me, this is a weird idea for an event either way, though. It's just a weird idea.
Yeah.
They showed him doing the floss dance in front of a crowd that couldn't care less. Like, it's cool, but okay. Like, all right, can the floss dance die out like now?
I don't even know what the floss dance is.
I explained it last time.
Oh yeah, gotcha. Okay.
And that kid's suing too.
Yeah,
I can't do it in the chair.
I'm
almost coordinated to do the floss dance.
I get it.
But they're doing that, and then there's a couple of co-hosts with them, and I guess it's cool. But I don't know. I don't know if this is the way that Twitch and Fortnite are going to break out into the casual audience. I don't think it will break out into like a casual audience, because if you're not into this sort of game to begin with, it's not all of a sudden, oh my god, they're doing a Times Square thing, I'm going to check this out and watch it.
I'd argue that it has broken into the casual audience. Fortnite for sure, everyone I know plays it. I mean,
I'm talking non-gamer audience.
Sure, it's everyone who would watch that show is watching it from the comfort of their own home. They're not outside. So whatever he's doing in front of the crowd, they're not going to get it. They don't care that he's Ninja. They don't know his name.
They're just like, oh, we're walking outside at midnight or 11:30 or 1 a.m. because usually the parties go to like 2 a.m.
Right.
Or 1:30 they end up. They're like, oh, this is interesting. A guy on the stage, and he's doing a floss dance. And,
right.
Okay.
All right. Well, I'm going home.
I'm going home, and
It's misreading your audience, and it's misreading the location and time where you should do something like this, because literally, no one, like I said, your entire audience is probably home or watching it elsewhere
with their hot pockets.
People there don't know who you are.
No. And so I don't know what the solution is to this. If it's the same ad revenue, you'd hope that if it's Twitch doing it, they don't have to pay for their own ads, obviously, Amazon/Twitch. So you'd hope that the ad revenue still got to the people that instead of the regular ads. I'm trying to look for a silver lining. I don't know if I see one.
I don't see one. I feel like it was a miserable
and I haven't looked up how well this stream did. I didn't watch it. So I don't know. And Red Bull has a lot of money. I don't know how much people like Red Bull. When Red Bull sends a guy to space, has him fall and does all these weird plane things. How much Red Bull is being drunk by people?
Lots. I remember when I had to like hunt it down at one point. Like I had to go.
It was a new hotness.
When it was like the new hotness and like
Jolt Cola.
They would
Jolt Cola.
Yeah, I started seeing it at like raves and stuff. They'd sell it there, and then. My dad came home with a can one day. I'm like, where the fuck did you find that? And he's like, oh, this gas station by, where I work. And
as my Pac-Man limited edition.
Yeah.
Which I still have to give you some. Red Bull.
And you just like, but now, it became.
They become like a culture company almost. Like they've evolved from soft drink.
It's kind of like a Coke. Like a small Coke.
Coke doesn't do this shit though.
True.
Coke doesn't do like Coke is like, well, everyone drinks our shit. We're making so much money, it doesn't matter. Like Red Bull's like, you could think Red Bull is not a drink company by all the stuff they do.
Sure. Yeah,
does that make sense? Like that's the difference.
Yeah, and like I remember when it was like one row of small Red Bull cans, and now you go and it's like an entire 2 fucking shelves in a convenience store.
It's like one of those things that they probably start in their backyard.
It's pop
like,
now. People drink it like pop, which is fucking disturbing.
We're not in the Midwest, Ian.
I'm here in me. It's pop.
All right, okay. So that's the thought on that. So if you were streaming, I feel bad if people got away from streaming, but I think if you're a smaller Twitch streamer, you probably have a hardcore audience.
Yeah, exactly. Your hardcore audience isn't going to care.
They're not going to care, and it's like okay,
you've cultivated them.
We know who Ninja is. He's you can't say he's sold out. He's built up his career. I mean. Drake threw him into the stratosphere, and he was on ESPN magazine cover a few months ago. So the guy's world famous. He's the most famous professional gamer. He was on Jimmy Fallon. He basically took the place of PewDiePie. He's like the cleaner version of PewDiePie for the generation, thankfully. So all right, well, that's it for this New Year's See You podcast.
That's gonna do.
It's going to do it. So, yeah, we'll have an announcement hopefully within a week about weekly podcasts and or the 9th semi-annual NES Marathon.
Yes, the marathon as well.
Won't be annual if it didn't happen in 2018. But, yeah, and then look out for a new NES Punk videos in the work, Ian. I only did one last year, which I think you may have watched. But you might watch this one. You watched it? You liked it? I'll show you. You had a cameo. So that's happening. And then a Kickstarter is going to be happening in definitely this month. If it doesn't happen this month, I'm gonna jump off Sunset Cliffs into the Pacific if it doesn't happen. I mean, I am. I have to get this going. I got to move on with my life.
Yep.
So, and you might do some writing for that.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I still want to do the Fire Pro article. Matter of fact, I got to check out the new Fire Pro DLC.
Oh, I still have to play it.
Yep.
That should be my resolution to play more games.
That should be your fucking resolution.
Play more games.
My real resolution.
And to get on, I should get on Twitch and actually get on Twitch and not just for like doing premieres videos. That was the one thing I failed at. I said I was gonna be playing games on Twitch and I just didn't have the time.
Yeah, I panicked and then stopped, but I should probably do it too.
You panicked?
Oh yeah, I panicked and stopped like immediately after I got my.
Too many viewers.
Someone very nice raided me, and it was awesome. But it was like late at night, and it was at the end of my stream, and I was just like,
I'm going bye-bye.
I was like, oh no, and then I started to like panic, and I was like, should I keep going for more? Because this is a really great thing this person did.
Who was the raider? Now raids are built into Twitch, like they're built in.
Cody.
Oh, okay.
Cody raided me with like 120 people, which was
overwhelming.
Which was fantastic. It was awesome, and I'm appreciative of it. But yeah, I just haven't gotten myself. I've got to gather myself a little bit better so that I can handle that better.
Sure.
Oh, my New Year's resolution is to just cook more. I'm just gonna cook in the kitchen all the time.
We gotta hang out more. We don't hang out anymore.
It's true. I should make dinner for you instead of just sending you pictures of dinner that I'm making.
You do that too often, don't you?
Yeah. You're like, what are you doing? I'm like, I have the entire counter full of food.
All right. How about you want to? Let's seriously. You want to go to Jimmy every now and then? No.
I'll think about it. That's not hanging out.
It is. Come on, get our games in together.
Oil up at the gym.
All right. So for that guy, Ian Ferguson, have a great 2019. I don't think you can be worse than 18, honestly.
Let's not start off.
Don't jinx it.
Jinx.
Okay.
Yeah, let's
knock on. I think this is wood. This is a wood-like substance.
Particle board.
Thanks for sticking around. And
yes.
This could be a transitional year in some aspects. For my life, we'll see. Ian, who knows as well. We'll see what's going on. What's on Ian's plate this year.
You're gonna get punchier.
Get punchier?
Yeah.
This might be a rough year for some people. We'll see. All right.
All right. Bye.